government was very quick to organize elections there within a year. And so provincial council elections were held. And now it's been almost 4 years since the end of the conflict, or at least the president has announced that the elections for the Northern Provincial Council would be by September of 2013. So that would be 4 years after the end of the conflict. So there's quite a difference between what happened in the East and what happened in the North.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News on MTV Sports. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Sonali Wanikababike. We start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Making headlines this evening, the 2013 budget receives cabinet approval. Minister S.B. Disanayake says there is a hidden agenda behind the university lecturers' protests. A new discovery from the animal kingdom.
MTV Sports News First, brought to you by...
On to the news in detail. 2 youths were killed when their motorbike met with an accident in Imbulgoda Gampaha this morning. Police media spokesperson SSP Rajith Rohana stated that the accident occurred when the bike collided with a lamp post.
The accident, which occurred near the Imbulgoda School junction on the Colombo Kandy Road, is believed to have taken place between 4 and 4:30 this morning. The 2 youths had met with the accident while on their way to collect some handbills that had been given for printing by the Inter-University Students' Federation. The motorcycle, which was travelling from Gampaha to Colombo, had collided with a lamp post which was on the other side of the road. The police said that although the injured youths were taken to the Gampaha District Hospital, they were pronounced dead on admission. While inspecting the location of the accident, our cameras captured footage of tyre impressions and the piece of a broken helmet.
When
the police got there, 2 persons were lying on the ground. They had taken them immediately, believing they may still be alive. But after taking them to hospital, the pair were pronounced dead. I was asleep in the shop. At about 4, a police officer asked me for 2 sacks, saying that there had been an accident there. He wanted a cloth to cover the bodies. The 2 youths have been identified as Janaka Bandara Ekanayaka and Sisitha Priyankara, both university students. 23-year-old Janaka Bandara Ekanayaka is the former chairman of the Student Union of the University of Kelaniya. The police said that 22-year-old Sisitha Priyankara is a member of the Student Union of the Ruhunu University who was residing at New Road, Modara. He was 22 years old. The bodies are lying at the Gampaha District Hospital where a post-mortem examination was scheduled to take place. The police have commenced investigations treating this as a road accident. The magistrate visited the location. The post-mortems are to be held. The JMO will conduct the post-mortem examinations and we can say without a doubt what caused their deaths.
Meanwhile, the IUSF expressed these views regarding the accident at a media briefing held today.
When considering the manner in which the investigations are being conducted, when considering the various reports received from different parties regarding the matter, there is suspicion as to whether it was an accident or caused deliberately. We have a strong suspicion about this. Time mark showed us that another vehicle had braked across the road at the location. Meanwhile, Sanjeeva Bandara also expressed these views about an event that took place several hours before. A short while before departing to pick up the leaflets, Chintaka, who was the acting convener, arrived in Yakkala on a motorbike on an urgent need. He was chased by persons he could not identify. He had come and told Janaka Bandara and Sasitha to be careful before sending them out.
Now, we made inquiries from the police media spokesperson regarding the issues being raised about the accident.
Various parties are expressing opinions on this. We found out that these were 2 university students at about 9 this morning. They may be part of a committee affiliated to these university associations. What we need to do is conduct inquiries. We are not troubled by various opinions. If the post-mortem examination reveals that this was the result of foul play and not an accident, then the police will definitely take appropriate action.
MTV Sports News First, brought to you by...
The inaugural Eisenhower Fellowships South Asian Conference and Eisenhower Day celebrations organized under the theme South Asia on the Move, Achieving its Full Potential in the 21st Century commenced in Colombo today. Now, apart from the eminent Eisenhower Fellows, Sri Lankan leaders and delegates also participated in the orientation session, which was held this morning. The Eisenhower Fellowships Association of Sri Lanka was formally established in August 2004. A non-profit, non-partisan organization, Eisenhower Fellowships Worldwide, commenced in 1956 with a group of people dedicated to past US President Dwight D. Eisenhower's vision of a world without confrontation. Former US Assistant Secretary of State John Wolfe, who is also the president of Eisenhower Fellowships Philadelphia, says that the main focus of the organization is to identify outstanding achievers, people who are leaders in a wide variety of professions.
And we work with them to develop their leadership skills and to help them to advance real outcomes that make their professional lives more successful and their community lives more prosperous. I think the fair thing to say about Eisenhower Fellowships is that Eisenhower Fellows are people who have grasped Dwight Eisenhower's vision that you can use dialogue to promote understanding. You can use understanding as a basis to develop collaboration that actually makes the world more prosperous, just, and peaceful. That's what he believed. That's what Eisenhower Fellows do.
Meanwhile, the former Indian Minister of State for External Affairs and former UN Under-Secretary General for Human Rights, Dr. Shashi Tharoor MP, who is one of the keynote speakers at the EF South Asia Conference 2012, expressed these views to News First.
Well, I've been asked to speak about the leadership challenges facing the subcontinent as we look at how South Asia can fulfill its potential in the 21st century. There is no question that we have not fulfilled our potential. And as a citizen of a country which I'm afraid accounts for about 70% of the population of South Asia and 80% of the GDP, I certainly have a perspective on what needs to be done, and I'm going to offer some thoughts on how and why we must work together to fulfill our potential as a region, as a subcontinent, and as a set of people who really have urgent needs for development.
This morning's orientation session saw the participation of several eminent personalities. The programs held this morning covered a broad range of topics dealing with leadership and change, personal leadership and capability enhancement. One of the key events in this year's Eisenhower Day celebrations in Sri Lanka is the launch of a trilingual children's book by Kalakirti Sibyl Wettasinghe, in which leadership messages of General Eisenhower have been adapted for children and colourfully illustrated in Sibyl Wettasinghe's unique style. Speaking to News First this morning, Sibyl Wettasinghe spoke of her experience working on the book.
It was a bit of a problem for me. I don't know how to read it. So I left it for some time and kept thinking about it. I talked to children about it, and finally I got down to creating this book, and it was a very, very interesting experience.
Meanwhile, the inauguration of the EF South Asia Regional Conference and the Eisenhower Day celebrations are currently underway in Colombo. The inauguration commenced with the traditional lighting of the oil lamp.
Serving their countries and their professions and their families in a leadership role around the world. May they all...
Following the lighting of the oil lamp, welcome remarks were made by the President of EFSL, Sandhya Jayaratne, and the President of the Eisenhower Fellowships Philadelphia, John Wolfe. A special video message from the US Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, Robert Blake, was also played at the event. The conference will conclude on Saturday.
Affairs at the US Department of State.
Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was among the many state leaders who addressed the United Nations General Assembly yesterday. Now, today is the third day of the 67th United Nations General Assembly. News First Shami Rasuldin reports.
Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad told the United Nations General Assembly that his country is threatened by uncivilized Zionists. Arms race and intimidation by nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction by the hegemonic powers have become prevalent, testing new generations of ultra-modern weaponry, and the pledge to disclose these armaments on due time is now being used as a new language of threat against nations to coerce them into accepting a new era. A state of mistrust has cast its shadow on the international relations, while there is no trusted or just authority to help resolve world conflicts. No one feels secure or safe, even those who have stockpiled thousands of atomic bombs and other arms in their arsenals.
حتی کسانی که هزاران بمب اتم و انواع سلاح انبار کرده‌اند احساس امنیت نمی‌کنند.
Meanwhile, Egypt's newly elected President Mohamed Morsi says he opposes foreign military intervention in Syria.
إن مصر ملتزمة بمواصلة ما بدأته من جهد صادق.
Egypt is committed to pursue the sincere efforts it has been exerting to put an end to the catastrophe in Syria within an Arab, regional and international framework. One that preserves the unity of this brotherly state, involves all factions of the Syrian people without racial, religious or sectarian discrimination, and spares Syria the dangers of foreign military intervention that we oppose. Egypt is also committed to supporting the mission of Akhdar Ibrahimi, the joint special representative of the United Nations and the League of Arab Nations.
المبعوث المشترك للأمم المتحدة وجامعة الدول العربية.
Today is day 3 of the general debates of the 67th sessions of the United Nations General Assembly. Nearly 70 heads of states addressed the sessions during the last 2 days. The UNGA will now hear the submissions made by foreign ministers and vice presidents of national governments until the 1st of October. The 1st of October, that is Monday, would be the last day of the general debates of the 67th sessions of the UNGA. Minister of External Affairs Sri Lanka, Professor G.L. Paris, will be addressing the sessions on Monday. During yesterday's sessions, the presidents of Kenya, Egypt and Iran addressed the sessions. And News First, of course, will keep you fully updated with regard to all the developments that will unfold from the UN headquarters in New York. I'm Shamir Rasuldeen reporting from the UNHQ in New York, USA.